Welcome to a brand new edition of the Retro Room Podcast here on the Ball Is Life Podcast Network, which you can find on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. The video version of the show can also now be found on youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support to the show. Shout out to my family at Red Bull for the fridge behind me. Always supporting the podcast from day one. I know I get Denny Blanco some Red Bull early in the week. I don't know where it's at, but just
drink it.
You did it already?
Drink it. I got it to my body.
As always, I'm joined by Denny Blanco. I am Denny Blanco on both Instagram and Twitter. Denny Blanco, my man, how you doing?
I'm excited as usual for our guest today. I can't wait to speak to him and pick his brain, so I'm excited about that.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Randy J. Cruz, R-E-N-D-Y, the letter J, C-R-U-Z. And I'm joined by the son of an NBA legend, son of an NBA Hall of Famer, Jason Kidd, TJ Kidd, now joining us. TJ, my man, how you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing good, man. Can't complain. You can follow TJ on both IG and Twitter at TJKid2_. Following that. He's all the way out in sunny California, rubbing in our face about the current weather, while we have some winter weather going on still here in New York. I hope you're enjoying LA, man. Hope you are.
I am. No complaints. My only complaint is the traffic, but that's everywhere.
Today should be fun, man. I know I've had you on a long time ago. It's been a while, but I know the next week or so, 2 weeks, we're gonna have you on a couple of shows. Just go through the whole car wash of the whole podcast network. Some basketball talk, some pro wrestling talk we'll have later on in the week. Should be fun. But I felt this was cool because, you know, like I tell you all the time, and I told your dad it was crazy. I had your dad on the show 10 years ago next month.
Wow.
It was March 2011, back in my Blog Talk Radio days, and I thought I would have him on for 20 minutes. That's what the lady told me. He had a game the following night against Portland. In Portland, he was in a hotel room, and I had your dad on for an hour. He was just the best, man. And I told him, and I tell you all the time, not because you're wrong, but he's my favorite point guard of all time. No disrespect to Magic and Isaiah, but I just wasn't, I didn't really fully watch them in their prime. I saw Jake his entire career, from the Mavericks to the Suns to the Knicks to wherever else he went. The Mavericks back to Dallas. My favorite point guard of all time. Just a different beast on the court, man. My dad, my brother put me on to Jake Kidd. I know Denny would know this too. Yeah. So he would tell me, my brother Joe would tell me, you got to watch this kid, no pun intended, play at midnight on ESPN for the California Bears.
Yeah.
I said, who is he? He said, Jason Kidd. And I said, damn, they got games at midnight, bro. But he said, but that's 9 o'clock in the West Coast, but whatever. So I saw a couple games, man. This guy just looked like, the rest of the history. I'm saying I saw him at midnight ESPN one night for California, and it was like, man, I knew he'll be something special. Became a draft pick, all that good stuff. So Denny, before you get into asking TJ questions, man, you do feel me on seeing J Kidd playing for California Bears on ESPN at midnight a couple of times, right?
For me, it was just a matter of the time being up, because I knew it would be trouble the next morning. So that's one. So, but being up and just getting maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes of him, okay? This is a guy who was like 6'4", and for those you back in the day, you expect the guys to be fast that are short. Mm-hmm. But for Jason, Mr. Jason Kidd, he was 6'4", he was stocky, and he was fast. He was just unbelievably fast for 94 feet. He was just quick, gone, boom, moves, crossover behind, and it wasn't a matter of. Also, this is the first time too where I saw a player the first time ever in my life being a basketball player and fanatic, etc. This is the first time I saw a player dominate a game without taking all the shots. That was the first time in my life. I've never seen. Usually, it's like, oh, this guy's rebounding or defending or shooting, but J Kid's numbers, they don't scream at you. But when you watch the film and watch the actual game, he is a basketball savant. Period.
100%. 100%.
So listen. So let me jump on it. Yeah, let me jump on it. I mean, obviously, basketball. You would imagine basketball's in you lived and breathed basketball all your life, TJ. But what other interests and loves do you have besides basketball, if I may ask?
Oh man, there's just so much. I mean, I love movies, music. What else? Oh, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I've seen every WrestleMania. I went back and watched it. Like, it's just very, like, I just love it all. Like, it's just so much fun to watch. I love like the storytelling and the fans are fun too. The wrestling fans are fun, and I mean it's a lot of fun. And then
right.
And just I mean, really, sports in general. I love sports. Like,
how'd you jump on? Sorry, how'd you jump on wrestling? How'd that fall into your lap?
It's funny, actually. So my mom was on a flight going, I forget where, but I guess Edge was on her flight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all people, Edge. All people.
Yeah. What are the odds? And then she was like, "Oh, you got to watch. You should watch." She told me about meeting him. I didn't really know. I'm like, I've heard the name before, but I was like, okay. So she was like, "Oh, you got to watch Friday Night SmackDown." I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And then I was just hooked ever since.
Wow. Denny, Edge of all people, not like some jobber, some guy who just started. Talk about Edge, a world champion, tag team champion, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah. And that's who his mom meets on a random flight.
I just imagine him laying back with his hair just glistening, his blonde hair just glistening, and we're just like, oh, it's Edge. What's up? And gives the head nod. Yes, whatever.
As we mentioned, you are the son of a legend, man. I think when people, these high profile athletes, and they have kids, and there's a lot of expectations to live up to their mom or to their dad of what they're doing. Did you ever feel that way? Like, hey, listen, if my dad is a pro basketball player for so long, that I had to be just like my dad and play basketball. I might watch basketball, but I may want to play it. Was there a different sport you say, you know what? If basketball is not for me, I might want to try baseball. I might want to try football or something else.
It's funny. People ask me that a lot, and like I remember, as I've grown up, I did for a while. Like, I thought basketball was supposed to be basketball, but like such a big world outside of basketball. And the one person I kind of learned that from was Kobe.
Okay.
Like, watching like what he did, like business wise, and like how he went and won an Oscar, and like there's so much more to like basketball. For me, I always know it's going to be there, whether I'm playing it, coaching. Like, it's like I'm sure if I cut like my wrist, I bleed orange leather. Like,
absolutely.
For me, it's like we're the deciders of our own destiny. So I think at the end of the day, for us, it's important that we try different things, do different things, and just have fun. Life's short. So,
right.
I mean, you can't put that pressure on yourself.
You hit it right on the head. Now, besides your father, now, is Kobe one of your favorite basketball players?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just getting to watch him play, I mean, against my dad was just unbelievable. It was one of, like, honestly, it was like it's just like one of those things that like I look back on now like, wow. It's just, I mean, I think Kobe was the closest thing to my generation's Mike.
Yes. Say it again. You could say it. It's okay. I see you hesitate. Now go ahead. Say it again, please. Slowly. Say it again with emphasis, please. Please.
I think Kobe was my generation's Michael.
I agree.
I think the closest thing we've seen to the turnaround fadeaway, just the intensity, the passion, just everything, the Mamba mentality, just everything. Like it was so much fun to watch, and just it was truly just a joy. And he was just so cool too. Like every time I've gotten to interact with him, he was just always so just cool. Like I never got any bad vibes from Kobe. Like he was the man. He was the man.
Beautiful human being, they say. Beautiful human being. Yeah.
So, okay, quick question. If your dad was playing against the Lakers and Kobe and everything, and
Randy.
No, not yet. I'm saying like TJ loves Kobe and respects Kobe, but I want to find out if there's a player that your dad played against that was really good, but he was like, man, I can't stand this guy, man, because he's always beating my dad, or he's always winning a title, or like every last second shot goes in. Is there a guy that your dad played against in his prime, in his era, that you feel like, damn, man, I can't stand this fucking guy?
No, I mean, I think I was fortunate enough to like everybody that he played, because he either played with him like in an all-star game or Team USA. Right. So I don't think there was anyone like in particular that I just didn't like, or like there's a bunch of guys like oh, it was fun to root against for sure. Absolutely. Like I had fun going to the games and just having fun. Like it was always fun. It was always fun for me. And I think there was a lot of fun matchups I always looked forward to. Like when I looked at the schedule in the beginning of the year, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good game. I want to be at this game. I want to be at that game. Oh, I definitely want to be at that game. But I think it was always fun. It was just fun.
Right. So before Denny goes, I want to ask you, because I and probably Denny would agree, I recall seeing you like maybe when the Nets made the finals, like on TV, and your dad would have you in the press conference and stuff like that. But when did you really realize that this is what my dad does for a living? Like, when did you realize, all right, he plays ball, he's in the NBA, there's all these big time athletes, Shaq, Kobe, AI, Garnett, Duncan. Like, when did you realize this is what my dad does for a living?
I'd probably say around like ages 7, 8, 9, like when I really like kind of understood it better.
Mm-hmm.
I was just little and having fun, and like those pictures you would see me, like I'm like, I didn't know any better. I was just playing basketball, having a good time. I was probably wondering like, well, what are all these people doing here?
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it was just probably around then is when I kind of was like, okay, like this is what he does for a living. It's pretty cool. Like,
Denny?
Well, listen, TJ, you've seen a lot. A lot of basketball players, all Kobe. Obviously, you just mentioned Kobe. Are you paying any attention to what's going on right now in the league?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I love today's product. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's exciting, and I mean, there's so much talent in the league right now.
You really think so? Versus, me and Randy go back and forth because your father played in a league where blood need to be spilled for a foul. You needed to be drop kicked.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit how you feel about the game then and now.
I think the game, right? I mean, I think the game is an ever-changing process, and it's always evolving. So I think for me personally, it's hard to compare eras because like people say like, oh, you could stick like LeBron in the 70s and he'll win 15 championships. Like I don't know. Like we don't know. Like we'll never, like unless someone's got a time machine we don't know about. We don't know. I think I think it's important as fans, like we got to appreciate each era for what it was and what it is. Because history, basketball and history are hand in hand when you're talking about it, and like in order to understand it, you got to appreciate its origins and how it's evolved and go on that journey to where we are now. And where we are now is we're in the era of the 3-point shot. Like you got guys like Steph Curry, who I think he might just be the greatest shooter of all time.
He is.
Oh, basketball is the cool thing about basketball too, is it's not definitive. Because there's guys like everyone, I'm sure in the 80s and 90s said like, oh, Reggie Miller's the best shooter ever. Then Ray Allen came along. And now we got Steph.
Right.
So it's like it's so cool to see like how the games and like evolved and changed so like dramatically. I mean, sure, like some fouls don't need to be called. Like I think flopping is definitely a problem. I think flopping is a problem. But I mean, I think too what's helped the talent right now is the influx that we've seen come from Europe.
Yeah,
you got guys like Luka, who I mean, I think he's gonna have an incredible career.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and Luka is a guy that you can say mimics what your dad did. A guy who just a point guard.
For sure.
He might have more range than J Kidd, but he's a guy that can score, rebound, assist, steal, and play a lot of minutes on the Mavericks of all teams. With Mark Cuban. So he is a prototypical J Kidd. I would say a taller J Kidd, just with more range, and even like Lonzo Ball mimics J Kidd as well. So you have a couple guys in the league right now that it's like, hey, that could be a Jason Kidd 2.0 kind of guy.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think that's the cool thing too. I tell people all the time, like you see different pieces of different players from the past too. Like, and that's what I mean. Like when you look back, these guys, like in their legacies, they don't ever go away really. Like you think and that's what makes basketball so cool. Like you see little bits and pieces of like Stockton and from like certain players. You see bits and pieces of Magic from, I mean, LeBron, I think is the closest thing to Magic that we've seen in the size and passing ability. Because, I mean, you don't see a lot of guys LeBron size passing the ball like that.
So like you mentioned, you said LeBron is the closest thing to Magic. In your eyes, in the current game, who is it? Lonzo? Is it Luka? The closest guy you see that resembles your father the most right now?
I mean, I would have to say both, just because like there's like I think Luka plays with that same kind of swagger my dad did. Like sense like he's gonna go get a triple double, and he's gonna do it and have you entertained the whole way through. And we're like Lonzo's the same way, but where they're different is Lonzo, he's gonna go get that triple double, but it's like Benny was saying, like it's gonna be like not as flashy. The numbers aren't gonna be like as like they're not gonna pop out at you right away. But like when you look at the box score stat sheet or whatever, like you're gonna be like, damn, okay.
Well, yeah, TJ, you know what it is for me? It's a couple of things I want to go through with you. First, number one, just to piggyback up what you said, right? So it's more of the science of the game when it comes to Jason Kidd or it comes to a Luka. It for me and for a lot of NBA aficionados or NBA, fans, the deep thinking fans, it's the way the pass is delivered, the way the pass is received. It's the way to. So, for example, the Nets team got a lot of layups Phoenix teams got a lot of layups. These are the teams that your father played on because everyone knew as soon as the ball got into his hands, if you ran up the court, you were getting a layup or a decent shot. And it also padded your stats, which in turn padded your contract. Yes, Mr. Jason Kidd has paid out millions and millions of dollars to a lot of other players. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you mentioned the game change. Me and Randy go back and forth about the game change. I don't like this 150 to 175 scores. I really don't like these scores. Yeah, they're a little bit ridiculous. I like them around the maybe 110, 120. That's fair. Yeah. These 150, 160s, that's not defense. That's YMCA. All right. And then third, because the universe is so big, the NBA universe is so big, right? Yeah. I fear that, and this is just me thinking off top, Dame Lillard, very, very great player today, point guard. I fear that because there's so many, because he plays in the, he plays for Portland. There's so many great players today. Your Currys, your LeBrons, your Kawhi Leonards. There's so many storylines.
Yeah,
I think Dame is going to fall in the cracks between. He reminds me of Brandon Roy. And if you recall Brandon Roy, during the time, he was playing with a lot of great players.
Yeah.
And he got hurt. Obviously, he got hurt and it stalled his career. But what do you think about Dame and what he's doing versus all the other guards in the league?
I think Dame I think people need to put a lot more respect on Dame's name. It's just, I think it's ridiculous. I think I saw something, I think it was Stephen A. He said that Dame has been leading the league in clutch points since 2012.
Mm-hmm. That's 9 years now. That's 9 years.
Oh, come on.
I think Portland is in a unique position because it's kind of similar to Brandon Roy in the sense that those teams that you have Portland who has Melo, who I think should have always been in the league. I think it was ridiculous that he shouldn't have been. I don't want to give analytics the time right now, but
exactly. Thank you, TJ. Thank you. We appreciate you here on this show. Thank you.
I think Portland's they're one or two pieces away, I think, from being a threat in the West. But I know Dame went to the same high school as my dad, so I love him. I think he deserves so much more respect than he gets.
Yes, sir.
I agree. And keeping with the current stuff before we go into the retro stuff with you, let's talk about your dad, who's now an assistant coach with the Lakers, defending champion Lakers. So your dad has a ring on the court, and
another
coach. You got two now. So not many can say that they want a ring on the court as a coach. But he did it in a weird time in the bubble. I don't even know how long he was in that gym for, but a very long time. So how was it for you to see your dad win a title as an assistant coach with the Lakers, but kind of understanding the circumstances he had to do it in?
It's funny, people I hear some of these pundits saying they got to put an asterisk next to it, but I'm like, why? It's a championship. They went and played for a championship. They won a championship. There's you don't really have to sugarcoat it. It was tough. It was probably tougher than a normal NBA finals. Because when you're preparing for a normal NBA finals, you have a little more time. You go through the media stuff and you do all that, the photo shoots and
the travel.
Yeah, the travel, and I think that championship deserves a lot more credit than it gets.
Absolutely.
And it was really cool to see though, because it's like winning a title with the Yankees or because the Lakers are such a historic franchise. I'm such a I love basketball history, and it was cool to see. It was cool to see. And the Lakers, they're just such a world-class organization. It's so cool.
So what was the chip celebration like when he got home? What y'all do?
If you can divulge,
Honestly, I really wish I could tell you, but I don't know.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I plead the fifth, but
Good answer. Good answer. I love it, DJ. God damn it, you. God damn, that's what I'm talking about.
But I'm sure they celebrated responsibly.
There it is. Good answer. I love it. I don't
think they threw the trophy or anything, but
oh yeah, not like Tom Brady, right? Throw it in the water and shit. Yeah.
No, but I think their goal is to just repeat. I think they want to repeat. So, and they have the team and the talent to do it. So hopefully they do.
Yeah.
Denny Blanco.
Yeah, let's get to the retro. You said you wanted to talk. You want to lead into the retro.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. My go. All right.
Oh, I was, because I was talking a little bit more.
So TJ, we're gonna throw some stuff at you.
Some
throwback retro stuff regarding your dad and our favorite moments and stuff like that. So I want to start off with this. And I know I'm jumping the gun with this, but I always felt that your dad should have won the MVP back in 2002. And the reason why I say that because your dad goes in the trade from the Phoenix Suns to New Jersey. Marbury's involved. And in 2001, they win 26 games. The first year your dad is on that roster, they double the amount of wins. They get 52 wins. They're first in the Eastern Conference, and they go to the NBA Finals. But they give the MVP, and then I want you looking at this. They give the MVP to Tim Duncan. So if you're watching on video, Tim Duncan, 25, 13, 4 assists and 2 blocks, 58 and 24, second in the Western Conference, but they lose to LA in the conference semis. On the flip side, Jason Kidd, 15, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 52 and 30, first in the Eastern Conference, a plus 26 win difference, and they go to the NBA Finals. So I still to this day feel like Jason Kidd should have won the MVP back in 2002. And I know TJ might be a little biased, but try to help me out. Like, why do you feel like, one, do you agree? And two, what makes you agree more the fact that your dad should have won the MVP back in 2002 and not Tim Duncan?
I'm actually I might shock some people here.
Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it.
I think I get why they gave it to Tim. I do, and I think Tim was he was the MVP. I think he was the MVP that year. But if this was the years Nash won the MVP I think maybe you look at it a little differently. But it's tough to say. I don't know. I think Tim Duncan should have been the MVP. He won the MVP. I mean, you can't change it.
But TJ, look at the numbers, bro. Let me
defend Jason Kidd real quick.
And one more before Denny goes. I know he'll go off on a rant right now. The thing is that the San Antonio Spurs were always winning once Duncan got there. The New Jersey Nets were not winning before J. Kidd got there. So Tim Duncan, they won a chip in 99, playoffs in 2000, playoffs in 01, playoffs in 02, until he retired. They're in the playoffs every single year, and I love Duncan. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I hear you. And I can totally get what you're saying. I'm like, because I think the vote. I'm not sure how the voting worked then, but because I think they vote just go in the regular season, and I think if you're looking at Tim's numbers versus my dad's, and I honestly I would have loved to see him win an MVP. Like I would absolutely love to see it, but I think Tim, like his numbers are more appealing to the MVP voters' eye than my dad's were. Okay. And also, you go back to like, oh, you're playing in San Antonio and you're playing in New Jersey. San Antonio is more of a appealing destination as to send the MVP award to than a New Jersey.
I hear that. I hear that.
I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately, and he never got one. But I mean, I think honestly, if you were to give it to him, I would have given it to him the next year.
And Denny Blanco just mentioned that, so go ahead. He pulled up the numbers for 03, but I felt like more too. Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just looking at. Okay, here was my argument. So I'm looking at the 01. It's the 01-02 roster of the New Jersey Nets, right? Oh, and then the 01-02 roster of the San Antonio Spurs.
Exactly.
I'm comparing rosters now. San Antonio, obviously, yes.
They had some talent on that roster.
Steven Jackson, Bruce Bowen, Antonio Daniels, Danny Ferry. Ladies and kids, Google Danny Ferry. He actually could play. Tony Parker. Okay, that was now. And then I go to Jersey's roster. No disrespect to anyone on this roster. Jason Collins, Richard Harris, Richard Jefferson, Anthony Johnson, Jason Kidd, Kerry Kittles, Todd McCullough, Kenyon Martin, Brian Scalabrine, Keith Van Horn. Just to name a few. Now, and Aaron Williams, excuse me. It's not even close. Like if you, in terms of who put in the more work.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Yeah, that's my argument.
I think New Jersey, absolutely, that team worked hard. That team worked hard both years to get where they were. Unfortunately, they ran into Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, Shaq was mad that Tim had his MVP award too. Clearly.
Oh, Shaq's mad. Everyone took his MVP award. But I love Shaq. I love Shaq. But I think it's so hard because that era of basketball, and I'm going to make a wrestling reference here. It kind of reminds me of the Attitude Era going into like right after the Monday Night War. When WWE got all those big WCW stars.
Yep.
And I think because like you have guys like when you got guys like Rock and Hogan, and then you got Tim Duncan and David Robinson on the same team. It's like there's just so much star power in the league at that time, and Jordan's still there. People forget Jordan. I mean, a lot of people forget Jordan was still there, and he was still handing out 40 pieces
as a wizard. As a wizard,
he was just. I mean. I think it's such a hard like I feel like we can talk for hours about just how that those years of basketball and just like how talented and like just how much fun it was to watch.
Denny Blanco.
Do you think your dad developing a jump shot later in his career hurt his I guess I don't know in terms of not so much legacy because he's already solidified in terms of point guard god, but his jump shot developed later in his career. Can you talk a little bit about that, like when you're around just watching that develop and go on?
It was cool actually for me for a basketball standpoint because I got to learn how to shoot too, so it was. I think, I mean, it's always, I like to say better late than never.
True.
And I mean, he finished his career in the top 10 for 3-pointers made. But I mean, I think he shifted down the list a bit. But I think it was important to him that he did. And I mean, I know he caught a lot of flack for it in his early years. And I think, I'm happy he did. And I think it helped. I mean, in regards to his legacy, I think, in my opinion, he's one of the greatest point guards ever.
Like, he's solidified.
It was, for me, like, I'm not just saying that because he's my dad. like watching him play the game, for me, like an all-time great player has the ability to make everyone around them better. And if you can make everyone around you better and bring them to like your level, like it's fun to watch, and it's just I mean, it was so much fun to watch. Like as I've grown up, to watch him play, and it was always so fun.
So Denny Blanco, if I told you, would you believe me if I told you Jason Kidd has made more threes than Dirk Nowitzki? Would you believe me?
Yeah.
Or does Dirk have more than J Kidd?
More threes made. Yeah, I would say J Kidd been in the league longer than Dirk. Yeah, right. No, about the same time. In terms of the time span, really? What time? Dirk played longer.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So what's the answer, Randy?
So J Kidd has 6 more threes than Dirk Nowitzki, and J Kidd is number 10 all time in three-pointers made. Number 10.
Oh, he slid down to 10. Wow.
Yeah, he was like number 2 or 3 for a hot minute. Then you like Harden comes in, and Paul Pierce and Reggie, you know them guys, Steph Curry.
I mean, Steph's gonna blow everybody out the water.
That's gonna be he got the infinity shooting stone.
Yes, he does. Yes.
He got the infinity shooting stone, and I don't think anyone's gonna have that stone for a long time.
Maybe.
So obviously, we're gonna go back and forth with different time frames. So
sure.
I mentioned Dirk, so I'm gonna get to him now. So obviously, when J Kidd goes back to Dallas, and I don't want to get to the finals yet, but just seeing Dirk and seeing that guy play for one franchise for his whole career, which is very rare nowadays, unless you're Dirk or Duncan or Kobe. 20 years, multiple time All-Star, world champion. I know you've probably been around Dirk and had conversations with him, but what was it like being around in the aura of a guy like Dirk Nowitzki?
It honestly just life-changing. It was like just watching him, just like how he was about like working out and training, and just like everything he did, and just watching him play was always so much fun. And like it was just like it's indescribable, just because like someone his size shouldn't be able to do the things he was doing. Like that one-legged fadeaway is just not guardable. That one-legged fadeaway was just never guardable, and I always tried to mimic it. It was always it didn't always work out like his did. But Dirk, man, just he's a world-class dude. Honestly, I love him. He's always so cool, always so nice, and I mean, like it was always an honor for me to just watch him play, because I knew what his importance to the game was. And I think a lot of people, like, I mean, with the exception of the entire city of Dallas, not yet have realized the importance of Dirk's contributions. And I mean, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. Like, that's not even a debate. Like, and I think that run that they had in 2010, 2011 just was the final nail for it. Like, it was just so freaking cool, man.
I want to piggyback off that, because the big German, I've always loved him. Him, watching him with Nash, and then watching him with Jay Kidd later on, and Jason Terry in that series. They beat the Miami Heat, right? So they beat the Miami Heat, and I did not expect the Mavericks to beat them. I don't know how many people did at the time, but I thought, Miami was loaded, and I was expecting a win from Miami. They know how many games. I just knew it was going. I thought it was going to be a win, but with the big German there, and Jason Kidd and Jace, the other Jason. People forget the other Jason Terry.
Yes.
Jason Terry's looking across the other side and telling folks, like, just because they got LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh, you think we're just gonna go, oh, here's the rings, guys? No, we're gonna play for these rings, and that actual team will go down as one of the best teams, and one of the best teams to ever win a championship. That team in particular, but yeah,
I would agree. I think that Dallas team, man. Oh my goodness! I remember my first day. It was my first day of school. And I told my friend, I'm like, I told my friends every year just because I wanted my dad to win championships. But I was like, I told my friend, I was like, I don't know why I'm saying this. I'm like, I don't know why. Like, I feel this way, but I feel like this year's going to be really special. Because, you look at that Dallas team, Caron Butler, who was huge. He got hurt, unfortunately. You got guys like Peja, who, I think needs to be in the conversation too of one of the best shooters I've ever seen. He's like, it's like
they were loaded. They were loaded. Jason Terry, Peja, Deshaun Stevenson, Pavlik, Dirk, Steve Novak, Sean Marion.
People forget Steve Novak was on that team.
Tyson Chandler, Caron Butler, JJ Barea.
He was huge. He was huge. Honestly, Dirk being Dirk, that's all we needed Dirk to do. Dirk's gonna do Dirk, and he does it better than anybody. JJ Barea and Tyson Chandler were probably the two biggest parts of that championship run as well. JJ balled out in the playoffs. It's funny. That Lakers series, I was not expecting. I was expecting that to be a series. I was not. I was honest. Like, I was shocked that it played out the way that it did. But everyone on that team will probably say that they weren't, just because the way that they played, and because I think after that Portland series, kind of to go back to Brandon Roy, he scared me. Like, I thought Portland scared me. That Portland team scared me. Him and LaMarcus Aldridge, they came to play, and that team was good and should be talked about a little bit more.
Yeah, you know what? That was when you mentioned I'm looking at it now. The Western Conference, semis, it was a sweep. It's the Lakers. If I remember correctly, you mentioned JJ. I mentioned JJ. You mentioned JJ. JJ was unguardable. No one could guard him on the Lakers. That's why it was a sweep, because no one could guard him. And then obviously everyone was doing what they needed to do. But the team was destined, it looks like.
Oh, I would agree with that. I think the cool thing about like watching these championship teams and like after watching The Last Dance, it kind of helped me understand it more, like what goes into it more, and like what the importance of everybody, the roles everybody plays. And I think at a young age I kind of understood it, but like The Last Dance kind of helped me understand this team a little bit better. And I think when you get everyone that buys into one goal and they're doing everything, like it doesn't matter like who's doing what, and like you buy into. And I think Rick Carlisle's a great coach and deserves a lot of credit for that team as well. I think he when you get everyone to buy in like the way that they did, the possibilities are endless.
Right. To piggyback off that as well, when you have a team, a championship team, you have pieces, components. And you see it early.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzle. You see it early. And I've only been on one championship team in high school. It was baseball. It was a long time ago. But the component, thank you for the golf.
My man TJ gave it the golf clap.
The golf clap. I always need that. Always need that. But the point is, right? So you see it early, right? You see, first and foremost, you have to have the star player. You have to have the guy, the star player. Then you have to have a coach who the star player and the coach have a beautiful relationship. And then you have the role players, where everyone down on the role, on the bench or on the team respects the guy, the star, and respects the coach. that is pretty much the nucleus or the formula for a championship team. Sometimes you see it early through the season, and sometimes it catches fire in the playoffs. You know, so for me, that's where I see that championship teams, you see it very often, and J Kids happen to be on a bunch of them.
It's funny. I mean, I agree with you on that. Like, there was a game, I think they played it was at Memphis that year. I forget the outcome, but the way that they were playing and just the way, like, you could just tell, like, their body, like, the body language was like of a championship team. And I was like, okay, like, I can rock with this. Like, this, they're gonna make some noise. Like, and they did. And they did.
So I want to backtrack a bit. I want to kind of set the story into this 2011 season. So I think the first domino, if I'm not mistaken, while I pull this up, I think the first domino was the J Kidd trade, and I'll get to his time in Jersey in a second. But his
Of course.
he spends 9 years with New Jersey, and then we get a trade to the Mavericks. So Denny Blanco involved in this trade was Jason Kidd, Malik Allen, Antoine Wright going to the Mavericks for Devin Harris, All-Star, Mo Ager, Trenton Hassel, Sagana Diop, a draft pick that will become Brian Anderson, and a draft pick that will become Jordan Crawford, and a retired Keith Van Horn. So that was, I think, the first domino to fall, or one of the major dominoes to fall in this revamp of the Mavericks into the 2011 season. So, Denny Blanco, do you remember any of these guys getting traded for Jason Kidd aside from maybe Devin Harris?
Man, listen, I don't know none of these. I mean, no.
I mean, I know these guys, but
we know them. But unfortunately, it's a very big NBA universe, and these guys weren't. Wow. Who won this trade?
I would say the Mavericks, because they won a chip. They won a chip that same year.
Man, talking about
this was in 08, 09.
Oh, you're right. All right. So yeah, they probably went like 2 years later. 2 years later.
And the payout came 2 years later.
Yeah, and it usually does. Yeah, usually doesn't happen the same year. Usually it takes 1 or 2 years for it to pop off. So yeah, that sounds right. And man, listen, again, Jason Kidd at the time was valuable because he made everyone across the board better. So he was worth way more than he probably was. The trade was. He was worth way more.
Mm-hmm.
Way more.
And plus the fact he made, Kate Moore was good, but he made Kate Moore into an all-star.
And
RJ was close to an all-star, but he was very productive. I think he averaged like 22 1 year. Like, okay.
What you do is also, Randy, what you do is you also look at where after Jason leaves them. Never forget, when he leaves them, what happens to the superpowers? Do they go away? Are they still the same? And then you watch the games and you're like, I don't know. You're different without this player.
Yeah, because when you bring in Devin Harris, I believe Vince and RJ were still there. And I don't know for how long, but I know when Devin Harris was there, they had Vince, they had RJ. On paper, that sounds pretty good. But I don't think they ever got to that level that they had with J Kidd. So were they good? I don't know offhand. Did they make the playoffs? I don't know, but I know J Kidd took them to 2 back-to-back NBA finals. We're talking about New Jersey Nets here.
Yeah,
of all teams, the Nets.
I think if Vince came a year earlier, they would have went to 3 in a row.
That's fair.
I think.
Okay, TJ, hold up. Let's see it. If Vince is there a year earlier, that means we don't get Detroit, LA in the finals. We get another New Jersey, LA in 04. And Detroit was probably your toughest competition back then with Rip, Chauncey, Ben Wallace, Rasheed.
That team was very good.
Tayshaun Prince.
That team was very good.
And I think in J Kidd's tenure with New Jersey, that was, aside from that one year with Boston with Pearson and Antoine Walker, Detroit was probably your biggest competition for that team.
For sure. I think Detroit was that team was very tough. And I mean, I remember, I think I forget what game it was exactly in the playoffs against Detroit. And it was probably one of the best shots I've ever seen my dad take. It was like that fadeaway in the corner, and I think they tied it. And it kind of to fast forward, it kind of reminds me of the shot he took against the Nets when he was on the Knicks. Like it felt like that same kind of pressure. I mean, even though it wasn't the Eastern Conference Finals, but it was an important shot, I think, for his career. People were like, oh, he couldn't shoot. He wasn't a great shooter, but he could make it when you needed him to.
Yeah, that's what at the same time, that's what you usually need. For me, I'm always about not so much looking at percentages. Can you make them when we need them?
Yeah, and I mean, I think he did that to an extent, because I mean, everyone misses. Everyone misses, and I think this is my gripe with people now, like who criticize LeBron. Like, why just let's appreciate what he's doing?
Exactly.
He's doing these absurd, amazing things in his 18th year, and just like we got to appreciate while we got him.
No, we don't. You know why? Because they hated Jordan. They hated Kobe.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's
they hated Michael. They hated Michael too.
I said MJ. They hate MJ, Kobe. They hate the greats, and it comes with Shaq. They hated Shaq.
It comes with the territory. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
AI too. They hated AI too.
Oh, they hated it. Carries. AI carries. What's that?
Man,
I do want to bring this up too, because another major domino in leading up to that 2011, I know TJ told me that J Kidd was 08-09. Shawn Marion goes in a deal from Toronto.
Matrix.
So those who just know Shawn Marion as a Phoenix Sun, he was also a Toronto Raptor for a hot second. So the Mavericks get Shawn Marion and Chris Humphries from Toronto, and Greg Buckner from Memphis. And Memphis got Jerry Stackhouse from Dallas, some cash as well. Toronto got Devin George and Antoine Wright.
So Dallas won in that. Looks like Dallas won in that again. Sneaking the which is interesting too, because Shawn had before Toronto. I think Shawn was in Phoenix.
I think so.
Yeah, so I don't understand why no other teams were, really looking at him to pick him up like that. And it looked like Dallas was like, come home. Interesting.
Wait. Didn't Marion?
He was a rookie with my dad in Phoenix.
He was a rookie with your dad in Phoenix. There you go.
But doesn't he go to Miami at some point? Wasn't he involved in some like a Shaq trade or something like that?
He went to Miami, I think, before maybe after Toronto.
This is what Matrix was talking about.
Yeah. He was in Miami Heat. I think he was involved in a Shaq trade or something like that.
No, maybe the timeline is messy, but
very.
But yeah, that's true. So I'm looking at it. Oh well,
I remember him being a Raptor for a second, and then I do remember him. I know he was with the Heat.
Yeah, Suns 99 in 2007, and Heat 2007 2008. Raptors for 2008 season, half the end of 2008 season, and then he jumped on the Mavs 2009 to 2013.
Oh, so maybe when Shaq left Miami, he went to Phoenix.
There you go.
Shawn Marion was involved in that deal to go to Miami. There you go. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, because
he went to Miami, to Toronto to the Mavericks.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because he did go to Shaq did play in Phoenix. I forgot that. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, those Dallas teams before their title run were fun too.
Oh, absolutely.
They had some hoopers, but they just ran into some good teams.
Usually, what happens in the West? Usually, what happens in the West is West is murderous row. So, who do you right now? Magic wand, TJ. You got the magic wand. Boom. You see the future. Who's standing there with the NBA trophy
this year?
This year.
I mean, I gotta say the Lakers.
Of course, Denny. His dad works for them.
I gotta say the Lakers just because.
Yeah, of course. I said, of course.
I mean, I'm wearing a Maverick shirt, but
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, of course.
I just like these Nike shirts, but.
Hey, Denny, why don't you turn that hat around to show TJ who you're going for this year? Turn the hat around.
I'm sorry, what?
Turn your hat around to show TJ who you're rooting for. To be fair, TJ, he did say Denny did pick the Lakers to win the title. But if he turns that hat around, you know deep inside who he's rooting for. And he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it.
Is it a team I'm familiar with? Oh, yes.
TJ, just imagine Lakers and net finals. That's weird, man. My dad works for Lakers, but I grew up watching the Nets and being a Net fan.
I'll probably be off the grid.
Good answer.
You probably won't hear from me.
Good answer.
Were you, as a fan, and I got a few more left. As a fan, were you kind of upset that the Nets went from New Jersey to Brooklyn, or were you more like, hey, listen, we had our time there. It is what it is. It's a brand new start. Brooklyn's different, and now you having all these big time guys come to Brooklyn: Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. Even before that, Pierce, Garnett, Joe Johnson, D. Will. You guys have had a lot of talent on that franchise. So were you more upset that they left, or more like, hey, our time was up?
I mean, it's so hard because I love New Jersey. I went to I was actually at the last Nets game ever.
Against who?
It was against Philly, and I think they lost. But no, it was cool. It was cool. Like I remember that game pretty well. Like it was cool being there and like just seeing all the legends. And then like I think my dad did a video because I think they were playing somebody else. But it was cool. Like it was cool. I got this letter from the Nets, and they were super cool about it. They were like, "Oh, we want to cordially invite you and your family to come to the game." And
nice.
It was a fun night. It was a fun night. It was cool seeing all these all the legends. Dr. J was there, I think, and then yeah, no, he was there. He was cool, and then it was a fun night. It was a fun night, and Jersey was fun, and who knows where the wind blows and New Jersey gets a basketball team sometime in the very, very far away future. But because I think Seattle needs a team first. Seattle, I think Seattle needs to be first on that list. But yeah, I think New Jersey, they have great fans and they're always so great to me, and I'm forever grateful for that.
And for those who don't know, your dad's number is in Barclays in the Raptors right now, right?
Yeah.
Nice. How'd that feel for you, man?
It was emotional. I can't lie. Like, shit, I was crying.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, it was emotional. I was showing the emotion for him.
Yeah. All right, so you got to keep it real now.
Yeah, for sure.
Izod / Prudential. No, not Prudential. Continental Airlines. That's what I know. Continental and Izod, or Barclays Center. What you got?
Oh, I played the fifth.
Good answer.
I love both. I love both. Like, I honestly can't say a bad thing about either, because I grew up Izod Continental, and like I got like it's funny when I go back to MetLife and like I'll run into random security guards. They're like TJ, and I'm like yeah, and it's always like so great to hear that I was like I mean like like if I was able to have an impact on someone's life, like I'm always grateful. Like if it was positive, I'm really grateful. Like I'm just it was such a fun ride in New Jersey, and then the second time around in Brooklyn was even more fun just because like it was that feeling of home. But I mean, it was Brooklyn. I mean, Brooklyn's great. Brooklyn's great. New Jersey was great. Nets fans, I love them.
So great. TJ, look at this play. I know you remember it.
Oh, this was a long ass game.
So, Denny, do you know what I'm about to play right now?
Looks familiar.
So this is game 5, tied up 2-2. They're up 3.
Oh yeah, Reggie hit it. Bang! Yeah, bang! That was the early introduction to the 30-foot hit, 30 foot on your head. Yeah.
Oh, and then double overtime. Reggie just racks it out. No, look at
bang!
Wow.
Yeah, that was vintage Reggie. That was vintage. That was vintage. But, people forget also too.
Great series, by the way.
Indiana had 1 or 2 years where they were very good teams.
Yeah.
Indiana had a murderous row. Rick Smicks, Mark Jackson.
I think the coach might have been was Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Reggie was still there, Austin Crozier,
they had a
Jamal Tinsley.
They had a squad. Jalen Rose.
Yeah,
Jalen Rose.
They had a squad. They
and Jackson too, Steven Jackson.
And they had a squad.
That TJ was long as hell.
No, I imagine. Yeah, everybody's like, "Can somebody win already?" TJ, before you go,
you fell asleep.
You fell asleep. Before you go, TJ, let me ask you one last question. All right, listen. I usually want to ask this to everybody who's basketball brain.
Sure.
Been around basketball for a period of time. All right. Aliens land on the earth. They want to play us for the earth, play basketball for the earth. We have to pick the best 5 on the earth to represent for the universe.
Okay.
On the universe is on the line here, okay? Now, mind you, you can pick players past and present for this universe play.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your starting 5?
So I'm casting Space Jam 3.
There you go. Hit it.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right. So I'll probably say Dame.
Okay.
Luka.
Oh, he's going current now. He's going current.
Yeah, I like it too.
Can I go to the past?
I said any player.
Anybody you want. Anybody you want.
Anybody. You press a button, they're there.
Anybody you want.
I'm gonna need guys that can move still, but
hey, no, they're primes. This is their prime time. Their prime from their era. Whatever player you want for the universe.
But I mean, those two for sure.
Dame and Luka, holla at me.
LeBron could be.
Dame, Luka, LeBron. Who's your power forward?
KD.
KD's put a stretch 4. Holla at me. I like where you going, TJ. I like it. Who's your center?
Ooh, this is a good one. Good question. I'll have to say Giannis.
Young TJ. All right. Well, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a lot of fouls. The aliens will be found, so we'll see.
TJ, no Shaq.
Oh, if Giannis isn't available, then Shaq.
You saw Shaq up live and personal in the 0-2 finals against your Nets. You saw what he did to Tom McCullough. You ain't picking Shaq.
Oh my goodness! I mean, you're gonna get me in trouble. You're gonna get me.
Hey, you know what? He's right, TJ. I got your back, TJ. I got your back, man. Look, hey, man. It's Giannis, man. What it is, man. We love Shaq. It is what it is, man.
Shaq back then, absolutely. I'm absolutely rolling with Shaq. But Right now, but you're saying if it happened today, right now?
Today, right now. Okay, today, right now.
I gotta go with the youth.
No, that today, right now. If it was today, right now, Dame, Luka, LeBron, KD, Giannis, that is a tough 5, bro.
That's tough right there too. That's tough.
That's a tough 5, bro.
That's tough. Before I let you go, TJ, got a few more. So I know you've seen a lot of games. Your dad has played New Jersey, Phoenix, the Mavericks. Do you have a favorite game your dad played in as a Net or a Maverick? I know there's a lot to pick from, but does any one game stand out to you that you saw like live, up close and personal?
Up close, ooh, man, I probably have to say there was one game. There's one game in Dallas that I thought was awesome, and then one game against, I want to say, it was actually when he was a Knick, and it was against the Nets.
Oh wow!
It was when he kicked his leg out. Alleged. I mean, I didn't.
yeah.
Foul. He drew a foul and hit the 3 and won the game. But I thought that game was one of my favorites of his that I got to watch. And then New Jersey. I mean, it's so tough because there's so many. And then Dallas, I would have to say there was it was a game. I think it might have been against the Suns. He had like I think he had like 20 assists in like the hat. It was like something crazy.
Let me see.
When he was a Maverick?
Yeah. Because I remember this game because Josh Howard hit a half court shot to get him to like it was like he tied or broke some record.
25 assists. Look at his 25 assists. 25 over Utah.
It might have been Utah. Or
25 assists over Utah.
It was Utah or Phoenix. I remember the game because Josh Howard hit a shot from half court to end the half.
Because the one I have in my head, I think they lost this game. But remember that he was with New Jersey. They're playing at home, and they had like a triple overtime game against Phoenix Suns.
Yes.
Remember that game?
I was at that game.
Oh my god! I wish I was there. I think it was right in the heart of the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. Nash, the Amare.
Oh man!
I think Matrix, Boris Diaw was there. No Kurich, no Joe Johnson, but there was still that 16 was.
There were so many battles that him and Nash had. Like it was always like there was guys that I knew that. Like when my dad was gonna match up against them, like I was gonna see the best of my dad that night.
Guaranteed. Yep.
And like it was like that Phoenix game was a fun one. No, like just from a basketball standpoint, like if you're a basketball fan, I'm asking like watch that game, watch how they move the ball, watch how they just move without the ball, and I think. Moving without the ball is so underrated now, like because everyone wants the ball.
Watch Golden State.
Oh, Golden State is beautiful.
Watch Golden State. That's beautiful basketball. That's where everyone, the passing, the screening, the backdooring, the cutting, the reaction to the defense versus you react to defense. Beautiful.
It just like because my dad, Nash, those guys, like they're guys that are gonna make everyone around them so much better just for being on the floor with them. And it was always just so fun to watch them battle.
Facts.
2 more, TJ. I do want to harp on back on 2011 finals because when people mention the champions of the last 10, 15 years, I feel like there is that 04 Detroit team and that 2011 Mavericks that kind of get lost in the shuffle. Everybody talks about Miami and San Antonio. There's a Boston in there. There's the Warriors, obviously Cleveland, but they don't talk about your Maverick team in 2011, which makes 10 years this year already. One, can you even believe it's 10 years already? And 2, why don't you feel like chip team in 2011 does not get talked about enough or like the accolades as it should, because they defeated a big three in LeBron, Bosh, and D Wade.
I think, I mean, that team was just so cool to be. First of all, be around, just because, like, I mean, you think of all the people on that roster, a lot of them just great role players, but also just some legends. Like, I mean, I think it was Page's last year, and then quick story I'll tell. So I remember it was right before the finals. I think it was after the finals practice, and my dad was like, "Oh, TJ, come watch this with me." So we sit on the wall in Dallas. Their practice gyms in American Airlines. They have a practice gym in there, and we're sitting against the wall, and we're just watching Page shoot threes. And when I tell you, this dude did not miss.
Did he hit 190? Did he hit 197 in a row?
It was like, no, nothing. I forget. It was like 10. I think it was 10 spots, and I think I was just in awe of it. And I think he might have missed like 3 in total. And I was like, "Geez, I want to shoot the ball like that."
Right.
But when just the way, like the energy and the way that that team carried themselves, it was a championship team, I think, right from the start. And I think,
like I said, I don't think they get talked about. Dirk destroyed the Heat, man.
No one wants to talk about it because
why not? Why not?
I think no one wants to talk about it because I don't think they still believe that it happened.
No, I agree with that. I think it's like, and you know, the people that Miami fans, it's just like, oh, well, yeah, LeBron just had to learn how to win. So it's like he got beat, and y'all not talking about it. He got beat.
I mean, because you can look at it like that for sure, but I think you got to look at it like this: championship teams absolutely don't happen overnight. I think some teams get hot at the right time. You see it in every sport. Teams get hot at the right time. But I think when you have the mindset of going in to win, which this team did, and I think the better teams always win in the finals. Better teams always win in the finals. Like, if you look at that series, everyone writ them off after the first game. Miami won the first game. And I think everyone was surprised Dallas was able to pull off the second game. I mean, I definitely wasn't, just because you put out there's a few people I want with the ball with time, a little time on the clock, and 2 of them were on the floor playing against each other, Dirk and LeBron. And Dirk, you give the ball to Dirk in a clutch situation, you're going to be happy with the result.
Every time.
Right. And real quick, I was there for game 2. Me and my brother Joe were visiting.
Really?
My uncle in Florida.
I'm not jealous.
I'm not saying we sat front row. I'm saying we were there in the arena. We were up top by the Alonzo Mourning banners. We were all the way up there. I was still. And the thing is, that game went to overtime, and Dirk just took over overtime. Like, it was like, whoa, like, okay, now we got a series. Miami goes up 2-1, and then they lose the following 3. Because if you go back to 2006, the Mavs were up 2-0 against Miami, and Miami won 4 in a row with D Wade. So now this is kind of like their 5-year removal payback from that series. So
Dirk felt it.
Dirk and Jet were the 2, I think, that were catalysts for that. Like, they remembered. They absolutely remember it, and I think they didn't want to lose that again.
And I quote Jason Terry. Jason Terry, he said, "Hey, LeBron is giving you some work. What are you going to do in game 2? Game 2 and 3." Jason Kidd looked at the camera, adjusted his tie. Let's see if he can do that for 4 games straight.
Hey.
Dirk Nowitzki in that finals. 26-10-2.
Balling. Light.
So TJ, I'm gonna get you out of here with this. I need you to explain this, and you might have an idea what I'm gonna pull up, but it's funny as hell.
Hold
on, let me get it. You're gonna have to explain this. Hold up.
I'm interested to see what this is.
Yeah, I'm on pins and needles.
I mean, I'm hoping
Pins and needles.
hope Denny remembers this.
You know, I'm an elephant, man. I remember a lot, man. I remember a lot of crazy plays.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, you're dirty. Oh, Randy, you're dirty.
Nah, you got, yo, what's
filthy.
up?
You're filthy. Oh,
I love I love this, bro.
Oh, you're filthy. Oh, somebody needs to come clean this up, bro. Somebody needs to come clean this up, bro.
He said he had no timeouts, and this is what you do to get a timeout. I respect it.
Hey,
I respect
man,
it.
people gotta hold on to their drinks, man. People gotta hold on to their drinks, man. I mean, it's a lot of fumbling going on, and quite frankly, I like that they pushed it out a little bit. So now the crowd's not on there, or even the crowd's not there no more.
Yeah. Well, I think in the age of modern technology and being able to slow it down, like
CGI.
I think they were able to like manipulate it to making him say that he's
CGI. CGI.
No,
yeah, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. I don't believe him.
No. Fake news.
Fake news, baby. I roll with you, baby. I roll with you,
bro. I saw that live, and I said, "Yo, did Jakey to tell the guy hit me?" Or I thought it was just like an accident.
I was at that game.
And, you were? Wow.
Yes, I didn't really understand what happened.
Neither did I.
It happened so fast, real time.
Right.
I was like, oh dang. And then like after the game, I was watching the highlight of it on Twitter. I was like, oh boy. I'm gonna get fined for this.
I
mean, he sold it. I mean,
what you're supposed to do. That's what actors do. If you're gonna be Denzel, you gotta Denzel it.
Exactly.
Come on now.
It's funny because I coached high school basketball in California for like 2 years, and there's a rule. They call it the Jason Kidd rule. You're not allowed to have drinks and stuff on the court.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's funny because I remember like the kids I was coaching, they were laughing at it because they were like, oh, they were laughing. They were like, they were laughing and they were like, oh, TJ, tell the rest who your dad is. I'm like, oh my goodness. But
leverage, all about leverage.
Oh, I mean, it's absolutely a creative way to get a timeout. I would have did it. I would have faked an injury. I would
win at all costs. I'm down with that.
Last question, TJ. Just seeing that and him coaching, the Nets back then, his former team, and now he's with the Lakers. Do you see your dad becoming a head coach once again in the league? Because when there was the time when the Knicks needed a head coach and they went with Tibbs, with all due respect, I was like, you know what, Jake could be a nice candidate for the Knicks. And I know he was in Brooklyn, in Milwaukee. He had a couple of other interviews to go to. He's with LA now, but do you think he could, get another gig down the road, or more teams should look at your dad as a potential candidate down in the future?
I do. I think everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and it happens for the reasons that there are. And I think that being an assistant with the Lakers, I think it's helped him. It's helping him become a better coach. And
right.
I think those experiences in Brooklyn and those experiences in Milwaukee helped him. Like, I think, because everyone forgets too. Like I think he waited. I want to say 10 days after retiring, and then the Nets hired him.
That's right. He was with the Knicks. He retired and was like, "Hey, J Kidd, new head coach. Yeah, come on down."
Yes, it took me by surprise. It was very, like, I think as most people in that position, like I think some people will just fall into the right situation,
mm-hmm.
and it's gonna just, and then it'll benefit them, and it help everyone comes along and learns how to be a better coach or whatever it is they're doing in different ways. And I think the way that he's going about it is great, and I think he'll definitely be a head coach again someday.
Yeah, steel sharpens steel. So obviously at the time around all these other coaches, they're going to be sharing information, sharing plays, sharing, obviously going through all millions and millions of type of scenarios. So it's gonna be nothing but beneficial for him. Absolutely,
for sure.
So
and I'm excited. I'm excited for him.
Me too. Denny Blanco, any final questions for TJ Kidd?
TJ, thank you so much for taking time out your day to come hang out with us. We really appreciate it. We can't wait to get you back on again. And please stay warm in LA.
Oh man, I'll try.
TJ Kidd, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram at TJKid2_. Just real quick, let the people know what you're doing, how they can find you aside from social media. Just keep them updated on what you've been up to.
What am I doing?
Exactly.
I'm in college right now, so doing that.
So,
nice.
I'm also making a little music.
Okay.
Dope.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all in the works right now. I don't know if you see the keyboard behind me.
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
What kind of music?
Music.
Okay.
Music. Yeah, music is music, baby. I can dig it, TJ. Yeah, good
answer.
He's had a lot of them today, baby. He's just
absolutely
draw four. You know what I mean? Like he's just, it's like it keeps coming. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, music, and then yeah, I mean, so you'll find me on social media most likely somewhere.
You still coaching or no?
I'm looking to maybe get back into that here soon.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. So
But
again, if y'all want to follow TJ Kidd, he's on Twitter and Instagram at TJKid2_. After that, Denny Blanco on both IG and Twitter. I am Denny Blanco. Me on IG and Twitter at Randy J. Cruz, RANDY, the letter JCRUZ. Give us 3 a follow. You can find the podcast again on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple. If you're a video podcast fan, you can find the podcast on the Cruise Control Podcast Network on youtube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. TJ Kidd, my man, thank you and greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
Likewise, man. Take it easy.
You too.
All right.